she was a rescue horse, and she was put up for auction in New Jersey, where we are from. And we were actually, my daughter had a horse and I had a horse, and we were leasing these horses, and we've been looking for our own horse for a while, and just hadn't come across anybody yet. And we actually, at the time, were not looking for a Vixen when we got her. And that's usually how it goes. You know, when you're not looking, they come into your life, and it worked out really well. We took her for a ride, a test drive, and ended up just really falling in love with this horse, and that's where our journey began. So we don't know a lot about her, but we could tell, and our trainer could tell, that she had been trained in dressage, probably up to second level. So it was, the movements were familiar to her, but she was really out of shape, obviously, had not been taken care of, and she had some issues of feeling comfortable, especially in her stall. She was really great when you'd bring her out. She was great in the cross ties, but if you went into her space, you could tell that someone had probably just hit her a lot and beat her a lot with the pitchfork. She would turn her body, which is in horse language, if they turn their butt to you, that's kind of a sign of, I don't respect you, I don't like you, I'm worried, I'm nervous, and then they're going to come out and kick you. So her ears would go back, like way back, and she would turn, and when you're in a little 12 by 12, that's a little intimidating. So we really had to work with her to help her know that we weren't there to hurt her, we weren't there to take her food from her. You know, sometimes she'd get really protective what she was eating. And that was just something that took a long time working with her. And in fact, most of the work to help her feel comfortable with us in her stall took place outside of the stall. We did a lot of groundwork with her, with a trainer that did natural horsemanship, and so building that relationship of trust. And she worked with us on how to enter into the stall, you know, to safely take off her halter and all of that kind of stuff, so that she felt comfortable. So now she has no problem. In fact, I have a funny story. In the wintertime, she's usually in there a little bit more eating, and I come in and clean. I call it her condo, Vixen's little condo. She loves her condo. And she was all done eating, but I was still cleaning. And she's, for those that don't know, mares are wonderful. They have an opinion, and they love to share it. Vixen has a bubble and a little amount of space. Sometimes she doesn't want you too close into her space, and she'll let you know. But she's just standing there, and I'm just cleaning, and all of a sudden she just kind of like got bothered. Her ears went back, not a serious pin, but just enough to be disgruntled about it. Like, and I'm like, look, sweetheart, you've got the entire paddock. There's the door. I have to clean your stall here for you. So either I'm cleaning your room. You can leave, or you can deal with the fact that I'm somewhat in your bubble. And she was so funny. She kind of went and just stood there. And just let me finish cleaning. But so that's just what's really funny about her, is that she's like, I'm a little bothered, you're in my space, but okay, whatever. Which was actually really neat for me to see, because there was a time where we could not go towards her. You know, if she were eating, I couldn't be this close to her.
Right.
You know, she was not as confident with it and stuff. So she's really come a long way. She's very independent, very strong-willed. And so sometimes my daughter would come home really frustrated, because it would be a little bit of a battle. And she would go home to my husband and say, oh, Vixen is just like mom. Just like her. And she is. We have our bubbles, don't we, Vixen? If I could be a horse, I probably, she would be my version. We got Vixen, we met her in April, and then we started riding her May, and then that August, you can see on her right hind there, she got her leg caught in a fence, electrical fence, and it sliced it up. I mean, it was just millimeters away from it being a very, very deadly injury, and we would have no longer had her. So we hadn't had her for very long, and then this injury happened, and it was months of rehabilitation with her. I mean, and you talk about her being uncomfortable in her stall. She had spent a lot of time in her stall, and we really hadn't had time to really form that relationship, and we were still in that process. It takes a lot of time, and so we were having troubles with her, and she started to cow kick. So go out to the side when we would try to saddle her, and when we would get on her, she was so on alert for everything that it almost became dangerous to ride her. I come from a dressage background, and a lot of dressage riders don't use natural horsemanship. It's more than just lunging a horse. It's building up a relationship with them. It's helping them to learn that they can trust you. It's helping them with spacing and boundaries. And you have a horse that's a little unnerved, and she'd have her just on this right here, just with the rope halter, and she's calm and just lunging her, and she's like, you just stay cool as a cucumber and let her work it out. You stay calm the entire time. And now she made sure she wasn't going to hurt herself, but she could kind of go crazy around there doing whatever. But it was a great example for us to see that in a crisis moment for a horse, remaining calm is so important. But that's hard to do when you're dealing with a 1,200-pound, horse. But it took a lot of time, but we spent a lot of work doing, was desensitizing to certain things. She wouldn't go into a certain corner, so we would stand there and have her move and get her butt all the way up into that corner and just have to stand there and just be relaxed. And once we were like, good girl. And then we would take her to the other side. So it was such an amazing experience that I wish anybody that owns any horse, no matter what discipline you do, if you don't have that connection on the ground in that way, it's going to be really hard to do it when you get on them to ride them. Because they are prey, they are always on guard, as opposed to a dog or cat, and I have dogs and cats as well. So it's been really interesting for me to work with horses, because I really have learned that I have to be present with them, because I need to be knowing what's going on in my surroundings, where they're at, where I'm at. And when we live in such a crazy world, and we all have stress, and we all have things that we're dealing with, a lot of us that ride, we come here to escape. This is our zen, our therapy. Mm-hmm. Instead of maybe going to a counselor, we come see our horse. And it's a beautiful gift, because you can come through the opening there at Graymar and you check everything at the gate, and you come in and you're just here in this moment. And where it really impacted me is my daughter 2 years ago was killed in a car accident. And this was our first horse together. So when she died, I didn't know if I'd ever be able to come back and ride. And it was hard to come out here because of all her stuff was still here. And, I'd see Vixen, I'm like, oh, it's just not right that Savannah's not here too. Those first few weeks out here, she knew. And I've talked about Vixen in her bubble. She's not a cuddly horse, but she knew, and she just came and just put her head to my head and just went, and I was like, okay, we can do this, Vixen, we can do this. So what started to happen is that I would cry all the way to the barn because I was just overwhelmed with my grief. But the minute I got her and started messing with her, it was just me and Vixen. It was just, I'm cleaning her condo, I'm grooming her, I'm on my lesson, or I'm just riding her, and I'm just thinking about her and what I can do, what will help her, what will help me. And it became the most amazing gift, because in the very early stages, it's only been a couple years, but those very early stages, it was the only moment in my day where I was not completely falling apart. I had a break from my grief. And it's just been the most beautiful gift for me. And people think I'm crazy that don't know horses, but I could come up here and clean up after her for hours. But it's very peaceful, it's very relaxing, and being able, when you're with a horse, they will give you a gift if you will let them. And that is to just be with them in that moment and take away all the stress that you're dealing with in life, all your worries, all your problems, check them at the door. And oftentimes you feel more capable to handle those things once you've had a moment to just be with your horse. So if you're willing to have that patience, and it's hard for us as humans to turn off our brain. We just are thinking of 5 things at the same time. But if you'll let them, when you're with them, it's a beautiful thing to just be in that moment, because horses are in the moment. So Vixen's always here right now, what's going on, you know. And now a horse may have developed bad behavior from something that happened continually over and over to them, if someone was abusive to them in some nature, or if they're frightened. But each time you're with them, they're just in that moment. So if you can help build that confidence in that moment, the next moment you see them, they'll be better in that moment.
That one, man, maybe too big. Too big of a bite.